Good morning, and welcome again to another installment of the Justice Beat Talk Show. And we are so excited to have you back with us for another great episode, in which today we'll be talking with gentlemen from Black Tie Reentry Program at Jubilee Ministries here in St. Louis, Missouri. Today, our guest interviewer is Lainey Perez, who is an associate producer on our production team and was responsible for the development of this particular episode. Good morning, Lainey. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. And we also have with us, as usual, our in-house consultant that's going to help us frame and shape some of this conversation today that we're going to have. So welcome, Karen.
Good morning. Thank you.
All right. Good morning. All right. So I'm going to scoot out as I'm not front and center anymore. I'm going to be behind the scenes watching, evaluating, listening. And Lainey, take it away.
Good morning, and thank you so much for that lovely introduction, and welcome Jubilee Ministry Black Tie. So today we're going to be speaking with James, Joseph, GarriOnn, and Josh from Jubilee Ministry. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so let's get into it. So how do formerly incarcerated men enter into the Jubilee ministry programs?
I can answer that one because I came straight from jail into the program, and well, it kind of happened between my family and everything. You have to get contact through Jubilee, which is our head guy, which is Jamal. He's our director of housing, Jamal Pruitt, and we have to get involved through him and contacted him, and he knew my out date, and he saved a bed for me. And that's normally what would happen is if you contact him and there's space open, he'll either save a bed or he'll have a bed ready for you by the time you're out. With moving guys up to a different house or just moving around bed situations. That's how we come from being incarcerated and everything.
Perfect. And so does your family research this, or did you already have knowledge of it? How did you gain that information of Jubilee?
My family researched it and found the program.
Awesome. And so what are the stages of that program?
Of the whole program, we have 3 stages. We have our entry level house, which is we call Victory Over Bondage. And you stay there for about typically from 1 to 3 months. And then we have our second stage house, which is the Turner House, which you stay there for about 6 months to a year. And then after you stay in the Turner House, then you move on to the third stage house, which is the Grit House, which you stay there and you pay rent there. So the 3 stages of the houses, so you start off with nothing, you're just trying to get back to yourself and everything. Second stage house, you're working and you're trying to build up to get your own place or move into the to the Grit House. And then once you're in the Grit House, you pay rent and you're self-sufficient.
Yeah, and then when you enter the program and you start out at the intake house, or we call it the VOB, which stands for Victory Over Bondage, like Gary had said. The whole goal with that house is stabilization, to get guys in the routine of waking up at a certain time, contributing at the church. You're on restriction during the first 30 days or sometimes longer, depending upon what the housing director assesses and what his assessment tells him that the individual needs. You'll be on restriction anywhere from 30 days to there's no end time. And when you're on restriction, you're not working, you have no cell phone, you are just strictly tied to the home and the church, and it's geared towards stabilization, getting a guy in a routine, getting him back to good healthy habits, and being able to do these things without being locked up or without being in treatment to where you're told by somebody exactly what you have to do. This gives an individual the ability to learn more responsibility and to start doing things on their own. And then the goal is, as somebody stabilizes, to move, like Gary said, to the other house, the Turner House, where you would be off restriction. You're working and you're more independent at that point than you would be at the VOB. But it's all a process geared to get a guy stabilized and moving in the right direction.
That sounds very interesting. And about how many men are in each house at a time?
The Victory Over Bondage, which is the first level entry house, holds 13. The Turner house holds, I think the same amount, 13.
12 or 13.
And then the Greer house holds, I think, 7, holds 7.
Turner house holds 13 men and 3 dogs.
Yeah.
That's always fun to have some animals in the mix.
Gotta have it.
Honestly, it helps a lot with the whole therapeutic animal alliance right there. And so, and so what are the rules on how to progress from one stage to another?
Really, what it is it's dealt with on an individual basis. Jamal Pruitt, the housing director, he has a lot of influence along with Dr. Moore and some of the people, the pastors and people at the church. They have a lot of influence in how a man progresses. Everybody progresses at their own rate. Ideally, you would want a guy in the VOB or the Victory Over Bondage house for 30 days, and then you want him moving up, but it doesn't always work that way. It's based on the individual. Rules are going to be catered towards that individual's progression. So some guys are on restriction for 30 days, some guys are on restriction for 3 months. It depends on the individual and how responsible they are and how, I guess, dedicated they are to their own recovery and their own, reentry and reset and getting their life back on track. It's all up to the individual and what they want to do.
That definitely makes a lot of sense. So kind of what their behavior is, what their motivations are, how much they want to work towards reentry.
Yeah, and unfortunately, not everybody that comes into the program, our program has an extremely high success rate. It's different from a lot of halfway houses where you're coming out of prison, you go to a halfway house, you've got 12 guys in the house, and everybody's doing different things. There's no camaraderie, there's no unity, and some guys are still doing drugs. Some guys are still, in that street life, not trying to make any changes. At our program, we call it our home, and we have a brotherhood or a unification where we would, each man would do anything for his brother, and we are all on the same page as far as like trying to better our life and move on, trying to become better men, the men that God intended us to be, leaving our past behind us, and really trying to do this. But the guys that don't, they cycle out and they don't stay, because we want to have room for guys that want to do this thing, that want to better themselves, that want to improve their life, that don't want to go back to prison.
That makes a lot of sense, especially with other men being surrounded by that individual and kind of having a little bit of influence over them. And so
we just had a situation yesterday where we had to cycle an individual out because of the negativity. You know what I mean? It becomes contagious, and we don't want to contaminate the home with somebody who ultimately doesn't want to be here.
Right. Maintain a positive and healthy environment so that everybody can succeed in that environment.
Big time.
So then what is the population that typically reports to Jubilee seeking to enter these programs?
What do you mean by population?
Basically any the racial populations.
I mean, we got a diverse group of men. Like it's probably about 50-50 right now of black and white,
Yeah, we have black, we have white, we have Hispanic. We don't yeah, we don't discriminate. Anybody is welcome if they have
You want to do right.
the aspiration to change their life and to move forward and become a strong man and stay clean and give up that street life and move towards the life that God intended, then we will accept them into the home. And it's really cool because, these guys are my brothers and I would die for them. And I think we all kind of feel the same way about each other. It's really a neat dynamic.
That's awesome, being able to have this brotherhood of wanting to get better and wanting to do better and wanting that for each other.
Yeah.
And all having that shared experience of
Mhm.
knowing where we came from, you know what I mean? Like, it's like we all survived that catastrophe and we understand, although our stories might be different, the feelings and the pain that we experienced out there and the things that we did kind of unite us in that place that we never want to go back to, you know?
Right, holding each other accountable and staying strong as a team. And
Right.
so, what are your two current recovery home options for the incarcerated or formerly incarcerated men?
Well, we got three options because we got the VOB house, we got the Turner house, and we got the Greer house. It all depends on what level or where you're at in your recovery and what type of level you're trying to get to with us.
But also at the same time, we only have one option for people that are coming straight out of incarceration. It's victory over bondage. Everybody starts at victory over bondage, no matter how long you've been sober, no matter where you're at in your recovery, you start at the victory over bondage house.
Yeah, that's the intake house. That's the starting point. And just so you know, we don't just deal with men coming out of prison or jail. And the men that are coming out of prison or jail, one of the criteria, or the main criteria, is that they are in recovery, that they had a substance abuse problem, and because we are recovery homes. So the substance abuse problem is a big key to the whole thing. We may not take a man that's just coming out of prison if he is not an addict in recovery. That's the main criteria of our program, is that you are in recovery from the abuse of a substance, whether it's drugs or alcohol, and that you no longer won't, we're all abstinent from chemicals. We all work our own individual recovery programs separate from the Jubilee Ministry. Some of us attend Celebrate Recovery. Some of us attend Narcotics Anonymous. Some of us attend Alcoholics Anonymous as a enhancement or a supplement to what we do at Jubilee.
Thank you for that clarification. And so it's a ministry program for recoveries and individuals wanting to recover. That makes more sense. And
Yes.
so, in your opinion, what makes these homes great? What makes these homes you want to stay and you want to work towards being recovered?
How can I put this? Okay, we're a faith-based recovery home program. Most of the people who goes to other programs, they potentially either want to leave or want to do things on their own. Here we do things as a brotherhood. We do things together as a group. Everything that we do inside Jubilee Ministry is together, and everything, it starts from home. So when a person come here, the first thing that we automatically try to indulge and encourage them to do is become a team player. So once you become a team player, you can rely on the next man to have your back when you don't understand what's the next step to go. Because you have leaders like us at the Black Ties who come together to help that individual. We want that individual to become one of us. So we show him and guide him in the right line, in the right path, so he can achieve any recovery goals and get right back to being a member of society.
That's awesome.
Any other programs that I have ever been in, they pretty much tell you that, well, you got 2 months left, so what you gonna do? You know, instead of saying, well, you got 2 months left, what you gonna do? We sit here and we make sure once that 2 months comes to, that person is already stabilized, financialized, got a job, got their ID, got their social security card, birth certificate, got plans that once they do, if they choose to leave Jubilee, that they can always come back and they know they got a home here, always.
Awesome. And so how does it feel to have that team standing behind you? And then also, how does it feel to be one of those team members standing behind another?
Oh, it's beautiful. We have this saying in the house: if you don't have anything, that's your fault. Because we provide it, that nobody can say they don't have, because if they don't have it, we'll get it for them. And we don't look for no payment, no repayment. We don't look for, we don't go to somebody and say, hey, I gave you this yesterday, you owe me this. That's not it. We want everybody to be on the same level, same path, so their head can be clear. You only can get yourself right if just your head clear. And your head can't be clear if you're hungry, if you don't have any clothes, if you don't have any shoes, you know, if you don't have any toothpaste or you can't take a shower, you know, we make sure that they have all those things and anything else that they need to help them on their journey to where they want to become. That's after they get incarcerated or if they come in straight off the streets, you know. We try to get them to be a tax-paying society member. How about that?
And it's done on a really cool pay it forward basis, because when I got here, I had nothing. And I didn't have any money and I didn't have a job. I had a couple trash bags full of belongings, and I never missed a meal. I had cigarettes. I had all my needs were met, and the guys that were here before me made sure that I had everything that I needed without even asking. And I said, I can't pay this back to you. And they said, you know what, man, do it for somebody else when you can. And so that's what I did when I got to the position where I could help guys out. And like when Josh came in and these guys behind us, we made sure they had everything they needed. And they were always looking at us like, wow. And it's like, here, man, that's what was done for us. And that's what we're doing for you, because we love you and we want you to be okay and know you will be, and just do it for somebody when you can. And that's how this thing reciprocates and continues on and on and on, is we just keep doing it for the next man and he does it for the next man, and it just goes on and on and on. And it's really amazing because you know without a doubt that everything you need is here. I don't want for anything. Never have. Never have.
Never.
You all sound kind of like a
They bought
family.
Christmas, they bought
Yeah,
Christmas
every
gifts
family.
for our children. I mean, it's just, you know, when they did that for me and made sure that I had Christmas gifts for my 14-year-old daughter that I couldn't provide, unfortunately, at this time. When they did that, that was it for me. I said, you know what, this place, without a doubt, has my back and loves me unconditionally. And that they had me before that, but that was like, that cinched it for me right there. To see that Christmas generosity was amazing.
That is definitely beautiful, and that you guys don't just help each other, you help your families as well.
For sure.
And the community also.
That's definitely beautiful.
We want to change North St. Louis. We want to change our environment. We want Jubilee Community Church to be a mecca. We're in the middle of a really bad area, a really rough, drug infested, prostitution, homeless, impoverished area. And we want to be the shining light that turns this place around. And so that's why we stay on the front lines in our neighborhood to make this a better place, because we're tired of seeing the suffering and the death. It's horrible. A lot of people couldn't do what we do.
Where we do that.
Where we do it, right?
Yeah. Very true.
That's- yeah, very valid. Definitely, it's got to start somewhere, and you guys are spearheading that, and so that's awesome.
Front line.
And so, what are your nonprofit businesses, and how do each benefit the reentry of men?
Well, we got
Services.
Jubilee Services, Jubilee,
Public
JCBC, Jubilee Community Development Corporation. We
The Turner
Jubilee
Foundation.
Property
got
Management,
Turner Foundation, Jubilee Property Management.
Jubilee Public Works.
We got Jubilee Public Works, North Side Oasis Farm,
The truck driving school.
and we got JTA, Jubilee Trucking Academy. Plus, we have these recovery homes, so.
We want to make sure the guys have opportunities for jobs.
Oh, yes, like that.
You know, that's another thing that, you know, when you've been in prison and you've been through the things that a lot of us have been through, our backgrounds are not the prettiest things on paper. So that was a big fear of mine going through, restriction, was that they said, you can work after 30 days. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm going to have a difficult time getting a job with my background. When I can get in front of somebody, I can get hired, but when they just look at my resume and they see what was in the past, I never get that phone call. So I had a job the day I was off restriction, and they make sure that the guys have opportunities within our community, within our, I guess, under the Jubilee umbrella to work. And I've been working since the day I've been off restriction and have a great job, and as do all of us within the Jubilee family. So it's pretty cool.
Congratulations, that's awesome. And so how do either formerly incarcerated men or men seeking to recover, or who are newly recovered, how do they qualify to work in these nonprofits?
You start off when you're at the Victory Over Bondage House, you start off with volunteering, and that's kind of like showing your work ethic and how you're gonna work and everything, and that's showing like what you're capable of doing. Because with that, we have the Elliott School, which is a 51,000 square foot school that we just got done cleaning out, and that's where a lot of guys did a lot of volunteer time. That's why I spend most of my volunteer time and still volunteer over there to clean out the school, and because we're turning into a detox and a wellness center. And so with that, there's a lot of debris that had to be taken out of it and everything. We also have the farm when it was warmer. That when I first got here, we had the farm out back that we took care of. And then every morning the guys come to the church and we clean the church for an hour. And that's vacuuming, wiping down mirrors and everything. So it's basically through volunteer time. You got the different ones that are in positions that see your work ethic and see how you're working, and that shows where your placement will be at within the working community that we have here.
And some guys have skills coming in. Some guys are carpenters. Some guys are concrete workers. Some guys are maintenance guys. Some guys are electricians. Some guys work in business, and we see the guy through like Gary said, through the volunteer work and developing a work ethic and getting stabilized. They see what guys are capable of, and then positions open up for these guys based on their specific talents and, maybe training and skills that they have, and where a guy wants to work has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like you guys aren't necessarily placed into the volunteer options, but are there cases in which you're placed into those options, or do you kind of express some sort of interest? Do you get to try a couple of them to find which one you really connect?
It depends on what needs to be done that day or that week, and then we're pretty much like, if you're able to work, like we have a couple older guys in the building that normally stay here and just clean the church and everything, but everybody else is able to work and able to keep up the work. We either go over to the school, we're picking up trash around the neighborhood or in the church, or you're out doing something.
And we work directly with another ministry that's called Love in Action. And what they do is they feed the community. They want to make sure that nobody goes without a meal. And they also have affiliations with different venues. So here's an example of volunteering. They work, for instance, at the Battlehawks football games or the St. Louis SC soccer games. And then we put a sign-up sheet out for the guys to volunteer to work. And if you want to do the volunteer work, you sign up for the sheet. For instance, we're working this evening at the soccer game, and they will volunteer for 5, 6, 7 hours at the soccer game and work the concession stands. And there's no pay involved. It's just strictly volunteer work to help the community.
Yeah.
And so do those volunteer opportunities and hours doing volunteer work, does that go towards moving up in the houses?
Well, it shows your integrity and your accountability as a man. It shows that you're responsible. It also shows us where your gifts and talents lie. So we can determine where we can place you. Because this job might not fit for this man, but he might be really good over here at paperwork or something. So we shift him that way. or shifting to the lawn crew. You might like cutting grass or building houses or whatever.
And it shows us guys' character. When you see guys that don't do anything at all, or you see guys that are always offering to volunteer and help out, you can kind of, the cream rises to the top, so to speak.
Yep.
That makes sense.
What do you think, Josh?
Well, with the volunteer work, it's, I call it more like service work, so you doing this, everything we do to give back to people. So the money don't go in our pocket. It go to help feed the homeless, to feed the hungry, to feed us, in sense, so, I mean, if we give our time so we can build up the strength to go out and get back in the workforce world, to get back to being responsible for not just yourself, to get that responsibility so you can know that you can go out and do a task without, how can I put this, without being scrutinized
With confidence.
from your past, or being judged by what you've done in the past, because you're now showing people that that's not you no more. You're actively being active to become a member of society again. Because that's the biggest thing that a lot of men in recovery homes, men and women in recovery homes struggle with, is once they leave outside the door, can they do it? So if you're doing volunteer work like that, like going to the soccer games, as Joey said, or going to the XFL games or the Monster Truck Rally team, you intertwine with people. Now you not looking at people who's behind, a jail cell door, or looking through a glass window, or got somebody over here telling you that you can't do this and you can't do that. Now you able and you stable to do it on your own and build confidence within yourself to be that person.
Destroying the stereotypes is really what
Exactly.
it does,
Yeah, it sounds like it allows you to prove to both yourself and to society that you can be a functioning individual in society, regardless of what has happened in the past.
Yeah, the past doesn't have to define us, I mean, people have made mistakes and bad choices, but that doesn't mean that that's who we are as men.
And that emphasis on that people can change, even though
Exactly.
something
sure.
has happened.
For sure.
So now we can talk a little bit about what Black Tie Men are. And so what are Black Tie Men?
Well,
We actually wear purple ties, which is kind of funny, but
we're going to be basically running the church. We're calling the shots. Of course, our senior pastor, Dr. Brian Moore, will have final say in everything, but we are responsible for all the men. We're responsible for the church members' safety. We're responsible for making sure the church gets clean. If we got tasks that need to be done by other guys that aren't black tie, then we try to make sure we find the right guys to do that job. But we're all strong, courageous leaders. We all are loyal. We would all do anything for this church because we recognize what the church has done for us.
there you go.
And we all recognize that God has brought us all here for our purpose, and our purpose is to serve this community. Oh,
That is not
Yeah.
my mission statement.
you got the mission statement?
Hmm.
I was gonna read you our mission statement, but I can't remember it.
Oh, it's
Here at Jubilee.
here at Jubilee, we are loving or nothing.
Here at Jubilee, we are loving or nothing, creating a better, using our hindsight.
Using hindsight to create a better foresight,
Positive force.
a positive foresight. Here at Jubilee, we are loving or nothing, using hindsight to create a positive foresight.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We just came up with it last week, so you have to cut us some slack on that one. It's like, these guys don't even know their mission statement. We got the wrong guys today.
It's a good mission statement. It kind of sets forth what you guys are about.
Black ties, basically, we're the leaders of the ministry. We have been appointed and voted on by Dr. Moore and our peers to be a part of the Black Tie affiliation, and we carry the responsibility of the ministry on our backs to train the other men, to be examples of what this thing is, not only while we're here, but when we're outside, so that people can say, wow, that's a black tie for Jubilee Ministries. That's that guy, and carry ourselves in a manner where we are impressionable and people know that we are serious about what we do.
So basically, in a nutshell, the black tie men are what that Dr. Moore wants every man who comes to the door to be. So when we came to the door, of course, we didn't have anything, and within, I've been here for 6 months, and when I got here, I didn't work. I didn't have the strength to do anything. But now I got a job now, I'm getting close. I'm close to my family, and I got everything that I want and need. The way that I used to dress, I don't dress like that anymore because that's a very big positive thing, not to walk out here looking all, how can I say that? Worldly, basically, what a real man is supposed to be, taking care of your family, taking care of your wife or girlfriend or especially your kids, and that's why we do such service work, so you can learn how it feels to give back without having to look forward for anything, because we need for nothing, so we don't look forward to getting anything by what we do, because they already done it for us. Why not give back to people? That's how you keep men coming. That's how you make men grow. That's how we teach. They teach us. How can you say this? Etiquettes. Yes, sir. No, ma'am. You know what I'm saying? Yes, ma'am. Please, thank you. Those are powerful words that a lot of people take for granted. And if you get men who's coming through those doors who don't know those things, once they feel that, they can feel what a masculine love is, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of men don't have masculine love, and that's what we have. That's why these are my brothers. That's why we are family. They family are my family. They problems are my problems, So that's pretty much what black tie means to me. Because it's not like one person make a decision, we come together, to try to help that person, to try to help that guy. Especially when they come to us, if we don't know a problem, I go to the general, or a sergeant, or ask them, hey, this person need help. You know what I'm saying? And we get it done usually right then, that day, or definitely the next day. So that we just want them to know that this is what the outcome can be. Black tie is what the outcome can be if you stick with us. Just give us 6 months. You'll see a whole different change from the moment you come in to where you are now. That's all we tell them. Give us 6 months.
I wish we had before the pictures when we each came in the door to where we are now, because that would really tell the tale. Just in the physical appearance alone, and the way we looked, or the expression on our face, the confidence that we have now, and the identification we have to each other and to this ministry. Like each one of us would do anything for this place, because we all feel so I just, my loyalty and the protection, like I want to protect this home, and I want to be loyal to it because it's given me everything I need at a time in my life when I had absolutely nothing, and I was very hopeless at the time, and I'm not that anymore, and it's solely due to this.
Yeah, and it's kind of like what we were talking with the pastor the other night, and we were just talking about like, what would you have done differently in your life? And my answer was, to knowing that I'm where I am right now today, I wouldn't change anything in my life to know that I would be right here right now today, doing what I'm doing, because
it's kind of overwhelming. It really is.
Yeah, it's I'm winning right now, and I had to lose to win. I had to fall to get back up.
It's a great paradox.
And appreciate it too.
And I love it. I'm love where I am.
To be born again, you'd have to die.
And you don't know how great this is unless you've experienced something tragic, traumatic. Like I said, we made it out of hell, or we made it out of that burning building, and I remember that burning building, and I understand where I'm at today. So the difference from there to here is like, it's insurmountable, the way that I feel and the ground that I've gained, or the distance I've come in such a short time. And I wouldn't go back. Like he said, if I knew that I had to go through that to get to where I'm at today, and I had that choice to make, I would have chosen to still go through that pain to get to where I'm at. I get emotional because I just, I was hopeless, and I got a lot of hope today.
Wow.
And that was your journey, and you worked so hard to get to where you are now. And each of you have gone on your own journeys, and you entered into Jubilee as an individual, and you're welcomed by a family, and you guys grew as a family.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. And so I guess you guys kind of answered what it means to be part of a black tie, be part of the Black Tie Men. Is there anything else you want to say on that?
I think I got something. The black tie, I've been here since December 2018, and I've died a couple of times along the way. So I've had the privilege to be here before Dr. Moore came and became our senior pastor. So at some points, it was just me, basically, in our program. We do call it a home now. So I've been able to watch all these men that have come through our doors, and I've watched several leave, and I've watched a bunch die. And the success that we are having now means everything in the world to me, because every guy that walks through that floor, we are able to help. Pain is information to us, and in our black tie, there's a whole lot of pain and a whole lot of wisdom, a whole lot of knowledge where we can help other people. What it means to me to be a black tie is it means I'm serving the Lord. I'm here for my purpose and to do my cause. And then when I stand in front of him, he can say, job well done. And that's my goal. So I want to share the love with everybody I come in contact with, as much as this church has shared the love with me.
Wow.
They've told me they love me since I walked through the door. And for someone to love me just for being me, that's powerful. You don't get that in the world, but you get it here. They are loving or nothing. If we can't love you, then we don't have nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
It sounds like it's a safe place for you all, just
Yeah, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah, that's
Without a doubt.
for sure. Thank you all so much for being so vulnerable and speaking about what it is and what it means to you to be a black tie. And so I'm going to defer it to Karen so that she can ask any questions that she's got.
Good morning. Thank you again, Lainey. I appreciate that. And gentlemen, I thank you all for everything that you all have shared. And one of the questions I have as a social worker therapist, your program sounds wonderful. I hear a lot about support. I loved the message about you being sold once you saw that they got Christmas gifts for your daughter at a time when you couldn't. So I'm wondering, in your program or at your church, what is there something formally done to help gentlemen work on reunification with family? We always know some people always have family support no matter what, but a lot of times because of past relationships are so damaged. So I'm wondering if you all could speak to what has been provided to you that may have helped you strengthen, rebuild relationships, trust with your family, because obviously, as you all explained, support is really big. You all are a brotherhood there, but I'm also assuming a lot of people want to have their relationships with family restored as well. So if any of you could speak to that, that would be really great.
I can speak on that. I can, without a doubt, speak on that. In my addiction, I burned a lot of ties with my family and everything. And because all my family really wanted me to do was just get clean to be the person that I was capable of being. And I would start jobs, not finish them, because my background is construction. Start jobs, not finish them, get the money and run off. And now on church, I think I counted last Sunday, I have a total of 12 of my family members that come to church every single Sunday. just because I'm here at church and we started a Bible study with my grandma's house every Thursday.
It's the coolest thing in the world.
It's-
To witness.
yeah, like, and it's all because of me. Like, and so like, it's amazing just to see. Like, I would have never thought just because I got clean, I would have all my family here at church. Because my grandmother, for one, she's Christian, but she's not the churchy type. And my grandmother is here every single Sunday. My mom is here every single Sunday. And my sisters are here every Sunday. And my nieces and nephews, my cousins, my aunt. Like, it's amazing to see everybody here.
His nieces praise dance on Sundays and
Yeah.
it's incredible to see that. Like his whole family, take up a whole pew.
They do.
they sit there and his nieces up there praise dancing. It's beautiful to watch.
And what it does, like
it really is.
I've told Gary a bunch of times, I yearn for that. That's what I
Yeah,
want. And so
that's
that
what I
gives,
want.
to see that with his family and to watch that take place and to know the backstory gives me hope that maybe one day I can have that with my family, because I burned the bridges to the ground. And we all have the mindset that if that's God's intention and it's meant to be, it's going to happen. And I have faith that I will be reunited with my family when God sees it to be the right time. But to watch Gary's family dynamic is the coolest ish in the world. I mean, because
And also that's one of the big key definitions of being a black tie, as you said, working up to that stage to where you can get back to your family and bring them to show them that this is what I've done since I've been clean, been in recovery.
tell them about your whole
left that
family
life,
being in recovery.
It's beautiful.
My whole, and also what's cool is my whole life, my mom has struggled off and on with a heroin addiction. My mom was the start of the revolution, I would say. So my mom has 5 years clean. And then my sister, I have 9 months. My sister has 7 months clean. And then we have another sister who has a month clean. And so my mom and her kids were like, we're the black sheep of the family. And like now all of us are in recovery. And it's awesome to have, like, on Christmas, it was awesome to have everybody there on Christmas together at one time in one house.
In recovery.
Mhm.
That is amazing. And I love how all of you all really lit up with that. And you're right. It's definitely encouraging. You're right. When you see someone else having success in an area where you want to have success, whether it's working, a job, whatever it is, but particularly when it's talking about restoring family relationships. I mean, that is a great encouragement. And it just sort of is consistent with the theme of the value of restoration and holding out hope and believing even when you don't see it for yourself, you can see it for other people. And so I'm really excited by that, because I just understand how much being supported makes a difference. I love what you said about how you referenced that you and your mom, her children, you all had been black sheep, but for people to see the change and the transformation, when people, may have the impression that, is that really possible? That's one of the biggest themes, is that when people are either coming out of addiction or coming out of incarceration, having that support and that hope, it makes a tremendous difference. I really appreciate you all sharing that, because that's big. I mean, that's a big thing. It makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. I don't know if anybody else wanted to add anything.
Well, without Dr. Moore coming to this church and the structure and the love that he brought, I don't know if we would be having the success rate that we are. Because he does bring a certain level of discipline that we got to have. He brings a certain level of love that we got to have, which to most of us is
It's
strange.
love.
What's strange, because a lot of us haven't had dads, so we don't even know how to receive this love from a man.
Masculine love.
But he's showing us how, and His structure is absolutely amazing.
States it.
Without it, I would be
It's
lost,
crazy.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Leadership like we've never seen in our life ever. I mean, he is an amazing individual that has shaped and influenced us all in just an amazing way, you know. We would all die for the man. I mean, it's
Cause
wow,
he tells us like, there's nothing that his hands can't reach.
Yeah.
And that's, he says, so like, if we have court problems and everything, like, if we don't say anything about it, it's our problem if we go to jail or anything, because he has connections, he has opportunities for us to take care of those problems. We just gotta open our mouths, and once we open our mouths, like, I can speak for myself. So when I first got into the program and everything, I just gotten released. I was on probation, first time on probation. And I knew I had a warrant out for St. Clair County, Illinois. And I didn't know what I was gonna do about it. I didn't know if I turned myself in, if I was gonna get revoked. She was gonna revoke my probation. I know, and Dr. Moore, he called a lawyer, he had a lawyer, he paid for a lawyer. So I had to turn myself in, and when I turned myself in, I was released within 2 days. And I was put on, they just extended my probation, and I just closed my case out. And he helped me with that, because they were the only thing they were offering me was jail time.
yeah.
And with that, he got my probation just extended, and me not having to go to jail. So there's no limit to what he will not do to keep us out of jail to help us.
And it's the Jubilee Ministries program that carries tremendous weight in the judicial system. I had some wreckage of my past that I had run from, and you know, our past always catches up to us. And so in February, I was sitting in St. Charles County Jail with a $15,000 cash only bond, and they were going to revoke my probation and send me back to prison. That my lawyer had already met with me and said, you have 11 violations in 12 months. You're almost batting 1,000. The prosecutor and the judge are at a loss. There's nothing left to do. And Jubilee showed up for me at my court date, strong, and the prosecutor and the judge reconvened, and they let me out of jail on they took my 15 grand cash only bond and recogged me and let me out of jail with no bond, and released me back into the hands of Jubilee and reinstated my probation and said, oh, well, we're not going to send you back to prison now. We changed our mind because Jubilee showed up and you're a part of that, and we want you to keep doing what you're doing. And so that's the kind of weight that Jubilee carries in the judicial system.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That is amazing. And wow, it's a great testimony to what can happen when people are fully committed to serving and to loving and embracing. And you're right, it makes a big difference. People can intervene, things can change. And of course, we all know that, you know, it's ultimately, you know, God's will allowing things, but having people to be committed to serve others in that way and to be available is absolutely, it's a wonderful thing. I'm so glad that this program exists and that you all honestly really take it very, very seriously. And I love that pay it forward concept. You know, it removes, I think, the guilt people may feel because I don't have it and people are doing, but focusing on when it's my time, I can do the same for someone else and be available. I definitely thank you all for everything you shared, your vulnerability and your openness. It is great. And I'm sure our audience has truly benefited from hearing not just your personal stories, but hearing about the organization as well. I think Elaine is about to rejoin us for some additional questions, maybe from our audience, social media audience, who you may have some inquiries. But I thank you for all of your time. This has been great.
Thank you for having me.
I have enjoyed. I'm sitting here taking notes, typing on the screen, and I can't wait to see what we've got coming in. If I can invite back our social media team, please, who's been monitoring our platforms. Hello, Lainey, Erica. Quanda with Lainey's been here. Fazana. Welcome back,
Yes.
ladies. All right, what we got going for questions?
I didn't
Right,
see
we,
any-
go ahead. I'm sorry, Farzana, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just saying that I didn't see any questions on Instagram as of yet, but I will let you know.
All right, great. Thank you.
Okay, the first question from Facebook was, do men have to be accepted into Jubilee House, or can anyone who wants to make a change become a member of the ministry or benefit from the program?
So the way that process works is, so our director, you call him, you contact him, we can leave his contact information if you guys want. Well, you contact him and you talk to him he'll talk to you for a good 30 minutes on the phone to see where you're at, see like why you're wanting to become into recovery, why you want housing, because like there's it's with the weather and different things out there, there's a lot of people that are just looking for shelter, and that's not what we're offering. We're not a shelter. We're not offering what we're offering is a sober place to regain your life back into society. And so with that, he'll talk to you, and then after he'll talk to you, he'll meet with you in person. And upon that meeting with you in person and that talk, then he'll make his judgment on if he will allow you into the home or not.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, yes, he will let you in the house, but it's all depending on what you want and how you're wanting to deal with your life and your situations.
And generally, you're either coming out of prison, jail,
Hospital.
a detox center, a hospital, or a treatment center. And the criteria again is that you are an individual reentering from one of those places and have a substance abuse problem that you want to get a handle on, and you want to get into recovery.
Yeah. You're still muted.
Sorry. The next question was, does the ministry conduct any pre-release activities in preparation for, I'm sorry, there's some background noise, individuals return to the community? So specifically pre-release activities.
As of right now, I don't think we have anything that's inside the jails or anything that are for pre-release. As for right now, like I said in the earlier, my family had to reach out to Jubilee and the different ones to find Jubilee. So right now, I don't think we're actively inside of institutions or anything like that.
Well, I know we have one guy in the house that when he got out of prison and he went to see his probation officer.
Yeah, okay.
His probation officer asked him, did he want to go to like one of his family members' houses, or you want to go to a recovery program? And he said he didn't want to go back home because he didn't want to go back to using drugs, or being back out on the streets, because he'll end up back in prison. So when he told her that he wanted to go to recovery house, she said, "Oh, I got the perfect one for you." And she was like, she gave Jubilee a phone call, and now he's here, and he's been here for months.
Yeah.
So that could be another way once they get out, because we do have people that's there at that place who know Jubilee very well.
Yeah, like there's a lot of like our director has a good rapport with like different with respite houses with
cafe.
With Cafe, which is another program that sends out different guys and women's referrals to different places, and he also a rapport with the hospitals and like I said, probation officers and different ones like that, the core systems and stuff. So when they have somebody that's about to be released or something that they think is going to be a good fit, they call him, and then he starts his process of seeing if you will fit.
And then this next question, each of you can answer, whoever feels like responding, is what were some of the challenges for each of you in reintegrating, and how was Jubilee a support?
My biggest challenge was my physical. I was nervous about reentering the workforce. I had a motorcycle accident and a dog-related accident, and ended up hurting my hip. And so I was doubting whether or not I was going to be able to work. And that wasn't the case, but that was my biggest challenge, was just getting the confidence to get back into the workforce. And Jubilee made sure I had a job and an opportunity, and I did the rest. But we don't have, the challenges for us, I think, are as big as we make them. We all kind of work together and make sure we all have what we need, and we know each other all well enough where if one of us is acting a certain kind of way, we all as brothers will say, hey man, what's up with you, or what's going on? You need some help, or you need an attitude adjustment, or what do you need? Because we all want to make sure we're all on the same page and moving in the right direction.
For me, my biggest challenge was overcoming the self-defeating talks in my head that always said, you ain't worthy, you can't do this right, you can't do this right. Just
Take the words out
learning
of
to
my
pray
mouth.
off the devil and to get him off of me so I can move forward in my progress.
Yeah, the boy. Right.
What about you?
For me, it was, well, for me, I was tired of being where I was in my life and my addiction and homeless. And so for me, like, when I came in, the challenge was for me was, I don't know, I guess it was really me. I really didn't have a challenge. I came in, I jumped in, like I started running, I did whatever they asked, like I didn't, like, so my biggest challenge was myself, I guess. Like if I did have a challenge, it would have been myself. And so, but yeah, other than that, I came jump in and I was ready to do whatever because I didn't want to go back to where I was doing.
Let's see, my biggest challenge was, I guess you could say myself. But I think that's pretty much everybody's challenge. Biggest challenge is they self. Because like I tell everybody, once you come through that door, you should leave everything at that door. Don't bring what led you up to that spot in the door. You should be able to want to change yourself once you reach that door. Because if you come into the program with the same attitude that you had before you got in the program, you ain't gonna grow, you ain't gonna build on anything. If you still got those selfish ways, that crazy mentality that you think everybody is against you or everybody is outside of you, you just setting yourself up for failure, because now you got multiple people in your head trying to tell you things that you have been living your whole life, which is false, So getting shown that and showing people who've been here before me that this thing works is one of the biggest things that I think is going to challenge that person to be like, how can I be like this? What steps do I have to take to achieve that? Because I came in, with my feet running, outside the door. I did, just like GarriOnn said, everything that I was asked and didn't ask for anything. And voila, here I am, I always say, like, I say to people who struggling or who can't figure nothing out, kill the boy, the man that's in you, and let the man start to grow. You got to kill the boy and then let the man grow. And I didn't know what that meant for a long time. Somebody told me that years ago, but I realized what it meant since I've been here. So that's one of the biggest challenges to me.
All right, we have about 2 minutes before we need to wrap up. Quanda, you had your hand raised? No? Okay. I just wanted to leave the last minute or so to the gentleman of Jubilee to do any kind of recap or mention anything about the program, upcoming events or activities, or ways that people can get involved and connected with the ministry. And then Lainey, you can close out.
I know because for our wellness center and everything, and our pastors want everybody to start to see the wellness center and to come in. So I know every second Tuesday of the month, we have a luncheon, and you come to the church. I believe it starts at 11 o'clock, so from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And there's a luncheon, and they talk about the community center and what the plans we have for it, and like the different things that we're going to have inside of the community center. And we meet here at Jubilee at 4231 North Grand, and it's every second Tuesday of the month
At 11 a.m.
at 11 a.m.
Yeah, this Elliott School project that we have going on is amazing for the community. I mean, people don't realize the magnitude that it's going to have in this area. It's just right around the corner. It's a 100-year-old school that we purchased, and we are completely renovating and turning into a major wellness detox facility right here in our own backyard. And it's going to have 100 beds, and it's going to have wellness and detox and counseling, and it's just going to be a mecca of recovery and therapy for the community. And it's a really, really, really big deal. And we've got a lot of big players involved in the funding and the architecture and the building of this facility. And people need to come check it out and see what it's about, because it's going to be a difference maker in North St. Louis. And it's where we're starting, but it's not where we're ending. We've got a lot of things for the future for this community that we're going to be a part of, and we're going to make a change here. That's for sure.
Awesome. Great. Lainey?
Thank you all so much for extending your stories of resiliency and being vulnerable with the team at Justice Beat and also our viewers. And so again, I would like to thank you all, James, GarriOnn, Josh, and Joseph, so much. And thank you all so much. Again, I cannot say thank you enough.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We appreciate the
And at Jubilee, we have this thing where when the pastor walks in, or it's an excitement thing, we all do a sound off, and it kind of goes like this: sound off.
That's our black tie sound off.
Yeah,
So
that's our black tie sound.
it's a lot more, it makes a lot more of a statement when you've got 30 men in here and the pastor walks.
Okay.
So it shakes the building, but it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I want to thank everyone that joined us this morning, all of the men from Black Tie and Jubilee Ministry, as well as our Justice Beat family that has joined via social media platforms. Once again, I want to thank you so much for joining us. And don't forget, next weekend is Easter weekend, and we do not conduct any live shows on that weekend. So it is a break for us. But we will be back on the 15th of April with another installment of the Justice Beat Talk Show. Thank you so much for joining us, and God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.